Hi, this is Jay Addison from CryptoBiz Magazine. We are inside Bitcoins in Las Vegas with Brian Koffler, the attorney from Koffler Legal and Consulting. Brian, how are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. We got a couple questions for you. Do you fear the BIT license will push businesses out of America to countries with more favorable legal framework?
I don't. First of all, the BIT license currently in its current form is really just a New York regulation, and it's not going to hit everyone like people believe they do. Its intention is to really get at where the fiat currency is being created from the Bitcoin and from the virtual currency. And I think that people are looking at it like it's a major attack on Bitcoin, and it's not. It's just the first regulatory
a
framework.
stepping stone, yeah.
Yeah, and it needs to be put in place. I think it actually is a nice framework. I've spoken with guys at DFS about this. They know what they have in place is going to be fought significantly, but it's not going to push people away. When it gets put in place, they're going to see it's not asking for anything more than a typical bank collects from its consumers, and it's not that much information at the end of the day.
Right, in fact, it could actually open up the market.
It's going to open up the market.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I know that there are people who are in the process of putting exchanges in place, and they want a regulatory framework in place prior to that, because they know that once that happens, you're going to have the big banks,
yes,
the Goldman Sachs, everyone like that, who's going to say, you know what, now I'll put some money in. I know what's going on here, I'll do it.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Another question for you. A lot of people bought mining equipment that will never turn them a profit. Can people benefit from these losses in any way at tax time?
Was this question written about me and my mining equipment? I'm not sure.
Well, I think it's just a general question. Why are you losing money on your mining equipment?
Just like everyone else.
Everybody else, exactly.
You know, it's interesting because if you look at the community, for example, the guys from CoinTower right here, who I've known for a while, and we were just talking earlier about how this entire industry changes so rapidly.
So quickly, yeah.
You know, the guys who take CoinTower as a great example. They were making mining equipment. Now they're not really making mining equipment anymore. They're selling cloud contracts. And just like everyone else, the companies that are focusing on the hardware, they're kind of dwindling. And there's too many large players. It's really impossible to make a profit at this point. Come tax time, it's going to be interesting.
Sure is.
Especially here in America, where you see the treatment of Bitcoin currently as a property. If you use the Bitcoin here or there, how no one knows what's going to happen. If I bought a pack of gum, are they going to look at that exact Bitcoin that was used and see what the value was when I first got it versus the value now? And that's going to be either a taxable gain or loss. No one knows right now what's going to happen. My guess is no. I don't think that's going to happen. I do not believe the IRS is capable of doing something like that. But I think it's a interesting question. I do believe, yes, people will certainly be writing off their equipment.
Yeah, makes sense anyway. Do you expect any legal precedent to be set by the Ross Albright trial?
I think it's a very interesting trial. It's a very interesting case in Bitcoin. It's you have a lot of people in the space who look at this case as something it's just against Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's bad. This is the government. The government says Bitcoin's bad, and the people in the community say, no, Bitcoin's good, so Ross shouldn't be prosecuted. My personal view, again, I don't know what's going to happen at the trial. I don't know. But I do believe that there is a good chance what he did was illegal, and that's something that the government is going to prosecute. It's not a precedent about Bitcoin.
Right.
It is a precedent that was set many years ago in many other drug dealing and conspiracy cases and other cases that have been. It's not a new precedent. We're following other precedents. This is just simply a new vehicle for transmitting value. That
makes complete sense. Do you see future innovations primarily being built on top of Bitcoin, or do you think that one of the current or future 2.0 protocols will replace it?
That kind of goes to a question of altcoins and how altcoins can interact with the Bitcoin community. And I believe that my personal view here is the utilization of the SHA-256 algorithm to work on Bitcoin mining is not sustainable long term. And I believe that's going to have to change. Whether it's something that changes automatically based upon the difficulty level hitting a certain level, and then maybe the protocol automatically changes to a different algorithm. A few proposals that I'm working on. I don't think it's sustainable as it is. The network is supposed to be decentralized, and right now it's not decentralized anymore. It's only been a few years in operation.
You're right.
I thought we'd have at least another 18 months before we got to where we are right now. But the reality is, if you could throw $100 million at a financial system and take control of it, which you could a year ago, that's a problem. It should cost you many billions to get to that point. It's too cheap right now to get there. So I think that if we keep with SHA-256 and the protocol doesn't change, I believe that there will be alternate blockchains that actually have more of the Bitcoin 2.0 infrastructure built upon them. If we do something smart with our mining technology, then Bitcoin could still be the one that lasts long term.
Sounds good. Of all the current generation so-called 2.0 or Bitcoin 2.0 technologies, which do you think has the potential to make the biggest impact?
I think Ethereum is an interesting one to me. I think the whole concept of smart contracts and just ways to utilize the blockchain for non-financial means is something that I think is great. I think that looking at the blockchain as a means of transferring stock and bond certificates, like some people believe it will, I think it will happen, not in the near future. The reality is there are centralized systems that manage this, and while they cost money, the banks that utilize them, it's not really anything to them. It might be $10 million a year, that's irrelevant to them. So
That's right.
I don't think it has to change. There's no reason to change it right now. I think that the contracts, though, with real peer-to-peer contract use, that's where I see the real change, because you don't need a central party.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's very exciting, actually.
Yeah. It's great.
So here's the trick question that we ask everybody.
Yes.
January 1st, 2015, what do you think the price of Bitcoin is going to be?
520.
520? That's a good number. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian, how do people get a hold of you if they want to inquire about any legal issues or if they want to hire your firm?
Sure, they could email me, info@kofflerlegal.com. It's the best way to get me.
Okay, can you spell your last name for the...
Koff as in Frank, Ler.
Fantastic.
And I'm always around.
And your website as well?
Yes, kofflerlegal.com.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, Brian.
Thank you.
This is Jay Addison from CryptoBiz Magazine, live from Meckler Media's Inside Bitcoins conference in Las Vegas. Remember to subscribe to CryptoBiz Magazine at CryptoBizMag.com. Follow us on Twitter at CryptoBizMag. Thanks for joining us, and learn more at CryptoBizMagazine.com.